Mira Elson had exactly 12 seconds of peace before her life became a tangled mess of yarn and alien curiosity. She sat in the observation lounge of Outpost Talon 9, her fingers working the crochet hook with practiced precision. The soft click-click of the hook piercing through loops was the only sound she permitted herself after 3 months of listening to the pack's constant growls, howls, and what she could only describe as aggressive sniffing. The Karnathi, a species of lupine warriors who stood 8 feet tall on digitigrade legs, had been her assigned companions since humanity joined the Galactic Council. They were efficient soldiers, loyal allies, and absolutely terrible at understanding the concept of personal space. The blanket growing in her lap was meant to be a gift for her niece back on Earth. Soft blues and whites. A pattern of stars she'd memorized from her grandmother. Simple. Calming. Human. Then Kivra appeared. The cub and Mira used that term loosely, considering Kivra still stood 6 feet tall and had claws that could shred Durasteel padded into the lounge with the wide-eyed curiosity of youth. Her silver fur caught the artificial light, ears perked forward, nose twitching as she processed this strange new sight. Human Mira, Kivra rumbled, her voice a soft growl that still made the translator embedded in Mira's collarwork over time. What? Is this craft? Mira glanced up, offering a tired smile. Crocheting? It's a way we make fabric using yarn and a hook. Yarn? Kivra's head tilted. A gesture so dog-like that Mira almost laughed. The string? Yes, the string. Kivra's eyes locked onto the ball of blue yarn sitting in Mira's lap. Her pupils dilated. Her tail began a slow, hypnotic wag. Oh no. Mira whispered. No. No. Too late. Kivra pounced. The ball of yarn exploded from Mira's lap like a startled bird, unspooling in a graceful arc across the observation lounge. Kivra's massive paws slammed down where it had been, her claws scoring deep gouges in the deck plating. The yarn, now liberated and seemingly sentient, wrapped around Kivra's front leg. The cub yelped a sound that brought every adult Karnathi within 3 sectors running. Kivra. The bellow came from pack leader Thorn, a grizzled veteran, whose scars told stories of 100 campaigns. He burst through the doorway, followed by 6 other warriors, all battle-ready and bristling with weapons. Report. What threat? He stopped. They all stopped. Kivra sat in the middle of the lounge, one leg hopelessly tangled in blue yarn, looking for all the galaxy like a child caught stealing cookies. The yarn had somehow wrapped around a chair, looped through a wall panel, and was now dangling from the ceiling like decorative bunting. It attacked, Kivra said weakly. Mira pressed her fingers to her temples. It didn't attack. You pounced on it. Pouncing is our way. Thorn said with absolute seriousness, stepping forward to examine the situation. His massive clawed hand reached for the yarn on Kivra's leg. Stand aside, cub. I will free you from this human trap. It's not a trap. Mira stood, arms raised. Thorn's claw hooked the yarn. He pulled. The yarn tightened around Kivra's leg, and simultaneously yanked the chair across the floor, which knocked into another warrior named Gress, who instinctively grabbed the yarn to steady himself, which pulled the ceiling strand down onto his head, which caused him to thrash and roar. Within 30 seconds, 4 adult Karnathi warriors were entangled in what had once been her niece's blanket. Hold still, Mira shouted over the chaos of growling and snapping jaws. You're making it worse. How do humans fight such a foe? Thorn demanded, now on his back with yarn wrapped around both arms and one leg. What is the weakness of this yarn beast? Mira stared at them. These were warriors who had held the line against the Screely swarm, who had been personally decorated by the Council for bravery, who were currently losing a fight against a ball of acrylic fiber. She started laughing. She couldn't help it. It bubbled up from her chest, part hysteria, part pure absurdity. She laughed so hard she had to sit down. The human has lost her mind, Gress announced, still trying to bite through the yarn on his snout. The yarn beast has claimed her sanity. No, Mira gasped between laughs, wiping tears from her eyes. No, just give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and none of you move." To their credit, the Karnathi froze. Years of military discipline overrode their instinct to thrash. Mira approached with her crochet hook and began the painstaking process of untangling alien warriors. She worked each loop carefully, following the yarn's path through fur and around claws, over tails and under armored chest plates. Kivra was first to be freed. The cub sat patiently, watching Mira's fingers work with rapt attention. "How do you command the yarn?" Kivra asked softly. "It obeys you." "Practice," Mira said, working a particularly stubborn knot free from Thorn's shoulder guard. "Patience. And understanding that sometimes fighting makes things worse," Thorn rumbled thoughtfully. "This is a teaching moment. It really wasn't meant to be." It took 20 minutes to free all of them. By the end, half the observation lounge was draped in blue yarn like some kind of abstract art installation. Mira's blanket project was officially dead. The yarn kinked and stretched beyond recovery. Kivra approached as the other warriors retreated, their dignity in tatters. "Human Mira, could you teach me this craft?" Mira looked at the cub, then at the disaster zone her peaceful hobby had created, then back at those hopeful silver eyes. "You know what? Sure, why not?" She picked up her hook. Kivra's tail wagged. "No pouncing. I swear by the pack." 3 hours later, Kivra successfully completed her first chain stitch. Mira had never seen a warrior species so proud of a slightly crooked line of yarn loops. By the next day, half the pack wanted to learn. Within a week, Outpost Talon 9 had become the galaxy's most heavily armed knitting circle. And Mira? She finally got her piece, 12 minutes of it, before someone inevitably tangled themselves and needed rescuing. But somehow, that felt perfectly human too.